What is up? What is up? I got a great one for you guys today. For my former athletes who are now in business, I'm going to break down how you can lose 20, 25, maybe even 30 pounds in the next 100 days without stepping foot in the gym. Yes, believe it. And this is specifically for former athletes who are now in business. And the reason being is one, because those are the guys I help, and I am one of them. And I know for sure because as a former Division One athlete, it's like as soon as you're done playing, you lose your system, you lose the structure, you lose everything that kind of held you accountable to be in great shape, and now it's completely gone. And what happens is you get older, you may have a family, you start working, you get a nice career, you start making decent money, and all of a sudden your health just gets on the back burner because you kind of have nowhere to go because, like I said, once again, the system is gone. And those are the men I help, and I'm going to show those men right now exactly what I do for the guys who I work with, and this is what you can do without even stepping foot in the gym. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Mike. So Mike's a former athlete that has gained 20 pounds since his playing days. So Mike's like 40. He stopped playing at 24, 16 years ago. And all of a sudden he looks in the mirror. He's like, yo, I'm 20 pounds. I've been going to the gym. I've been eating healthy for the most part. But why am I 20 pounds overweight? And it's simply because, like I said, the structure is gone. The system's gone. The accountability is gone. And you're just kind of going through the motions. And this is what happens. All right. So let's get Mike back into great shape instead of so Mike's not talking about, hey, look at this picture. This is what I used to look like 20 years ago. We're not doing that no more. All right. So look, I'm going to use Mike as an example. And what you can do is when I'm giving you this example, you can just plug in your numbers into the formula that I'm going to give you, and then it'll work for you. Okay. Now, what I also want you to know is that, like, without stepping foot in the gym, this has to be dialed in. And that's why I'm going to give it to you, like dial it in. So whatever you got to do, screenshot, screen record, because I'm not going to edit this. I'm going to just go. I don't want this video to be too long. So I just want to go. I want you to take it. I want you to apply it. And I want you to comment below when you lose these whatever pounds, 20, 30 pounds you need to lose in the next 100 days. So back to Mike. So Mike's 220 pounds. His goal weight is 200, and he needs to do this in 100 days without stepping foot in the gym. So the first thing we're going to do is we got to talk about nutrition. One, because we're not talking about the gym, but people have to understand nutrition is king. It is the engine. You are not 18 to 22 years old anymore. You can't eat whatever you want, Your metabolism is not like breaking down food like it used to. You are in a completely different situation. You're older, you have a family, you're making money, you're at a desk, you're driving to work, you're driving back. Like a lot of things are going on that wasn't going on 18, 20, 22 years old. All right. So let's understand that. So you can't outwork a bad diet. This is why when you go to the gym and you see these guys who are in the gym every single day and you're like, damn, they still look like shit. This is why, because they're trying to outwork a bad diet and they think they're eating healthy and they're not because they don't understand nutrition. So I'm going to break it down for you right now. The first thing we must do, we must find Mike's maintenance calories. Okay. So Mike is 220 pounds, as you can see. It says body weight, BW. We're going to multiply that by 15, which is going to give us 3,300 calories. So if you are not 220 pounds, let's say you're 250, 270, 280, I just want you to take that 220 and take it out, throw it out the window, and then put your weight right there. All right. So 220 times 15 is 3,300 calories. So that lets us know for Mike to maintain around 220, he needs about 3,300 calories. What we're going to do is we're going to subtract that by 500, and that's going to give us 2,800 calories. So this is his new goal. And I already know somebody's thinking, I probably should subtract more than 500. I need to lose 40, 50 pounds. Here's your problem. You keep doing something that's so unsustainable that you get to a point where you're just like, you give up in a week. You're like, yo, if I got to go do another week like that, hell with it. And this is problem. This is the problem. So stop doing that. All right. Stop doing that. And I'm going to explain how we can make that 500, 750, 800 as we go down the line, as we go down over time. But you must be able to do something sustainable. You guys keep doing unsustainable stuff, and you've been doing it since you stopped playing. And this is why you're still in that situation. So, all right, Mike's new calories are 2,800. All right, so we must understand how we're going to make up these 2,800 calories. Okay, so there's a macronutrients. There's proteins, there's carbohydrates, there's fats. All right, so let's break them down. Simple. I'm going to talk to you as if you're a fifth grader because I want you to understand this. Protein equals muscle building. All right. So that's why people lift weights like, oh, I got to make sure I get my protein in. There's the muscle building. All right. It helps you build muscle, but it's 4 grams per calorie. Okay. So carbohydrates equals the energy source. They're 4 grams per calorie. Now, we're going to stay on this a little bit because the first thing you guys think is, I'm going to throw my calories, I'm going to hit the gym, and I'm going to do all this stuff. And it's like, it's your energy source. Like, yes, there's a diet, there's a diet called the keto diet. But how many people can stay on the keto diet? So people do it, they lose 20 pounds and they gain it right back because you're doing something you can't sustain. All right. So stop. I'm going to teach you how to stop doing that so you can be in shape year round and you don't go from 220 to 200 back to 240. We don't want that. Okay. So, third thing is fats. It's our hormone support. And I'm not sure if I said that, but I think I did. But carbs are 4 grams per calorie. So fats, hormone support. Guys, this is important. This is like speaking on testosterone. You don't want to just not eat fats. You will tank your hormones, which is part of your testosterone, and that's not what we want. We want to keep our testosterone high as possible as we can. As we age, it also declines. So this is extremely important. This is 9 grams per calorie, okay? So proteins, carbohydrates, fats. Okay, first, we're going to start with protein, okay? Now, I'll explain why we're starting with protein. Protein, we at least want to get 200 grams, his desirable weight, of protein in body weight. So he's 200, he wants to be 200 pounds. So I see BW, body weight, says 200 grams of protein. We're going to multiply that by 4 because it's 4 grams per calorie, which is going to give us 800 calories. So 800 calories of the 2,800 need to come from protein. All right, you with me? So remember, if you're 250 pounds, if your goal weight is 250, if your goal weight is 185, there you go. Plug it in there, times it by 4. So 2,800 calories minus 800 calories made up of protein. Remember, that gives us 2,000 calories remaining. Okay, you with me? Remember, screenshot, screen record, rewind, do whatever you got to do. I just don't want this video to be too long. I want to make sure you understand it and actually apply it. Then we get to fats. All right. So fats are going to be 0.3, so 30% to 40% of our total calories. All right. So remember, we have 2,000 calories remaining. So we're gonna multiply that by 0.4. 2,000 times 0.4. So that's gonna give us 800 calories as well. Now we got to figure out how to get that in grams. So we're gonna go 800 divided by 9, because remember, fat is 9 grams per calorie. That's gonna give us 88 grams of fat. Okay, 88 grams of fat to make up our macros. Okay, so now remaining calories. 800 calories, because it comes from protein, plus 800 calories is coming from fats, equals 1,600 calories. All right? So remember, 2,800 calories minus 1,600 calories is going to give us 1,200 calories remaining. And what we're going to do with those 1,200 calories, we're going to put them all in carbs. Now, you're going to be like, damn, 1,200 calories goes straight to carbs? This is the reason why. We want to do remaining calories because, remember, we don't need carbohydrates. So it's the easiest to pull from. And we want to make sure we get our right amount of protein and right amount of fats. So when people see 300 carbs, instantly they're like, oh my God, bro, I can't eat. That's a lot of carbs. It's the way you're building it. So when you start to take away calories as you get lighter, that's the first thing you can pull from. All right, because it's the remaining. You don't necessarily need all 300, but that's where we're going to start, and we want to make sure you understand that. All right, so our macros are 200 grams of protein, 88 grams of fats, and 300 grams of carbs. Those are our macros. That's how we got to hit them. All right, that's how we're going to hit them. 200 grams of protein, 88 grams of fats, and 300 grams of protein. And what I want you to do is every 3 weeks, I want you to do a check-in. And the reason I'm saying I want you to weigh yourself, I want you to do measurements, I want you to take photos. And the reason I want you to do that every 3 weeks is the first week is going to fluctuate. All right. You may be eating more or less of whatever's happening, like your body's trying to adjust to it. But as soon as your body catches on, by like week 2, you're going to start dropping weight like it's a bad habit. Like it's going to start stripping right off of you. All right. So we have that. So now let's say after those 3 weeks, you're 215 pounds, right? You're 215 pounds. You lost 5 pounds in 3 weeks. Great. We're on a roll. We're right where we need to be. Protein stays the same because it's still your desirable weight, 200 grams. But now we're going to go back to those carbs. Now we're going to strip some of those carbs and be like, all right, so I was eating 300 grams of carbs. So how do I pull away how do I drop some calories? This is why people screw this up all the time by stripping all their carbs away from the get-go, and they have nowhere to pull calories. There's nowhere to pull, so you can't get better. And all of a sudden you end up going backwards. So 300 times 0.1, because we're going to take away 10%. So 300 times 0.1 is going to give us 30. It's going to give us 30. So we're going to do 300 minus 30. So it's going to give us our new carbohydrate goal, 270 grams. Okay? And then we're going to go to our fats. We can take away, let's say we're going to do times 0.05, 5%. And that's going to give us 4.4. 88 minus 4.4 puts us around 84, 83-ish grams. Okay? So now look, over the 3 weeks, we lost 5 pounds. And we're like, hey, we're going to drop some. All right, now your new macros are 2,636 calories. And we only took away 30 grams of carbs, which may be just, some take away a little bit of rice. Your fats, you may crack one less egg. You may eat less avocado. Like whatever it may be, your choice. But look at that. Look how that is like you're being able to adjust without truly throwing everything away. And this is how people do it. This is how people who are extremely locked in with their nutrition are easy. So like when you have your macros, you can eat your favorite foods as long as they fit into the numbers where you're trying to get to. Now, let's say you have your check-in and your 215 and the macros that you originally had are still working, you're still dropping. You can keep eating them because it's like you want to wait till you plateau and all of a sudden you're like, all right, I need to drop some. If you're still eating at 2,800 and you're still dropping, but remember, we're not working out, so we're not burning as many calories. But if you're also working out, you may continue to drop at 2,800 calories. But once again, I promise you, this will be if you're not training, okay? If you're not training. So let's say you 215, you plateaued. You weighed yourself the second week, and then the third week came around, you still was 215. This is when I would adjust, okay? So as we wrap this up, steps are important. So let's say week 1 through 3, you did 10K steps daily. Week 4 through 6, you did 11K steps daily. Week 7 through 9, you did 12K steps daily. So now your calorie expenditure, like you're burning more calories each week because you're doing more steps. Remember, we're not talking about the gym at all. So if you're just upping your your steps daily, every 3 weeks, you're going to burn more calories. You can do week 1, 10K, week 2, 11K, week 3, 12K, 13, you can, whatever you want to do. But the problem is, if you do it that way, you eventually go up to 20,000 steps. And if you're the clients I work with, you don't have time to walk 25,000 steps a day. So what I'm saying is week 1 through 3, do 10K. Week 4 through 6, do 11K. Week 7 through 9, do 12K. All right. And then eventually go up. It'd be 15 weeks to get to 100 days. And you may be at 15,000 steps a day. And you already have worked into it. So as I wrap this video up, I want you to do this for the next 100 days if you can't get into a gym. And I promise you, you will see the weight start dropping off, the fat coming off. And obviously, lifting weights is going to help you because you're breaking down the muscle and it's building it back up. But this point of this video was for the guys who are like, man, I'm lifting or I don't lift, so how am I going to lose the weight? I just literally showed you how you can do it. So if you like this video, if it made sense to you, do me a favor. I just want you to like. You can comment as well if you have a comment about it. If there's something you want me to talk about, you can comment. Let me know below. Please subscribe, and I'm going to keep giving you guys videos, especially for my former athletes in business who are struggling with getting the weight off. See you guys in the next video.